Good evening, everybody. We are in Parashat Va'etchanan. We are not in the beginning, we are in chapter 6, verse 4, the famous mantra of the Jewish people, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, Hashem our God, Hashem is one. Now in Hebrew, it's Yud Kei Vav Kei for the name of Hashem. He is our God, Elokeinu. Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is Echad. So he starts off, the Kli Yakar starts off with explaining Rashi, bringing down the explanation of Rashi. Hashem, Shehu Elokeinu. Hashem, He is our God. And we understand that as Ata, now, right now He is our God. And not only that, V'lo Elohei Amumos, He's not the God of the nations. La'asid yeh Hashem echad, but in the future He will be one God. So this is a real pella, it's a real wonderment to the Kli Yakar by asking the question, as we will soon see, and we should be asking the same question ourselves. Hashem is God, Hashem is one, Hashem our God, Hashem is one. Rashi says, Shehu Elokeinu ata ayin taf hey, which means right now. V'lo Eliumos, but not the God of the other nations, who osilios Hashem echad. He's destined to be one God. And how do we know that? As it says, Rashi brings down two verses. The Kli Yakar only brings down one, but let's say the first verse is in Safanya 3, chapter 9. Ki az apoch el amim safa brura, so that they may call, right? I will change the nations to speak a clear language, so that they may call out in the name of Hashem. Likro b'kulam b'shem Hashem. V'ne'emar, and the second verse that the Rashi brings down is in Zechariah 14:9. B'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. On that day, Hashem will be one, and His name will be one. So the first question the Kli Yakar asks, he brings it down from Gemor Pesachim. Kedam Rabbi Yochanan. Well, biur inyan. This whole matter requires clarification. The Gemara brought down in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Ketiv. It says over in Zechariah 14:9, B'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad, which implies in the future, then He will be one. Which, what's the question we should all be asking? Atu idna lav echadu? Is it really true that right now He's not one? If in the future He will be one? What does that mean for us right now? Ella lo ka'olam hazeh olam haba. A very important principle he wants to get across to us is that this world is not like the world to come. What's the difference? Or one of the differences? Al besoros tovos hu oimer. In this world, kibolam hazeh, in this world, whenever you hear good tidings, someone tells you some good information, so you say, Baruch Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, right? Blessed are you, the Lord, King of the universe, Baruch hatov ha'meitiv, who is good and does good. That's what we say when we hear good news. When you hear bad tidings, not such good news, someone's death or a loss in a trial, could be a lot of money, so you say Baruch Dayan Emet, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Baruch Dayan Emet. Just the words Dayan Emet, He is the true judge. That's what we say in this world. In other words, we respond with different words. The truth is, we're supposed to respond with the same feeling of trust and joy that Hashem is ultimately in charge, but verbally we mention different words come out of our mouth. That's what we say in this world. But when we reach this point in the world to come, kulam omru, everyone will say, no matter whether it's good tidings or bad tidings, hatov ha'meitiv, thanking and blessing He who is good and who does good. Why is that? Because the difference is, in this world, mitzad sheroim peulos hafchiot, lahara u'lehetiv. When we see, from the aspect that we see the different types of actions that are very opposite of each other, even contradictory of each other, could be whether for the good or for the bad, al kain yatsu k'tzatan leminus. What could happen is that some people could go out towards heresy when they see different types of actions. There's mercy and there's judgment. And one might think heretically by saying, Shtei Rishuyot Hein. There actually are two authorities in this world, or two deities, which is what we call Avodah Zarah, which we would call idol worship. Ki mahatchala achas lo yotze shnei hafachim. Because one might think, of course, this is the continuation of the thought that there were two deities, two gods. Because you would think from the origin of one thing does not come out two complete opposite ideas. Like he explained earlier on in Genesis. And I'll give you an idea. He was talking about the sun. The sun could, because of its heat, and could also the sun could cause, let's say, wax to become very soft, and it can also make an egg which is very soft to become hard. So this is an idea that's brought down in order to understand that it's not, those differences don't come out as a result of the power that's emanating, but it comes out, the difference between hard and soft as a result of the heat comes out as a result of the makeup of the receiver. It's the makeup of the receiver that will determine the difference. But that's a whole nother explanation over there, but it's interesting to note here as well. And because this idea is brought down in both places. In Parashat Bereshis, the reason it says in the very first day of creation, in the verse, V'hi erev v'hi boker yom echad, right? All the other days it says second, third, fourth. You would think that the first day of creation it say Rishon. It should say first. It doesn't say first, it says one day. Because ultimately, night and day, light and darkness, they all come and emanate, right, from one God, from one authority. So when you see things that look contradictory and even opposite to each other, it doesn't necessarily mean, and you shouldn't take it to mean, that there are two authorities or two gods. Okay, but at least in Olam Hazeh, it's very easy to get mixed up. Olam Haba, when it comes to Olam Haba, when, right, in the world to come, Shkavar Nishkachu Kol Hatzaros, by then we have forgotten all of those pains and will have been caused to have been forgotten. Everyone is going to praise Hashem and they will say, Al B'Sros Tovos, on all good things, because everything will be good. Hatov Ametiv, blessed is the one who is good and causes good. V'lo Yiru Az Havchiot, because they will not perceive, they will not see then in the future time any of the opposites. As we're talking about on this road, you see good and you see bad. First of all, there is no such thing as bad, or let's define bad. There's good, and good is what we call revealed good, things that we see and perceive as good. Bad is that which is hidden good. We cannot perceive the good in it, but it's all good. Then, the future period of time, Hashem will be one. Hashem will be one in the mouth of everybody. Ushmo echad, and His name will be one in the mouth of everyone. Kishinoi Hashemo ismidin larachamim yisavev lehem ta'ud zeh. This change in the name. Remember, God doesn't change, and these names are attributes. So this attribute of justice will somehow change to mercy and rachamim, and that will fix those who have made a mistake by thinking that there's more than one ultimate powerful God. Lefikach, that's why the verse in Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, says Hashem Elokeinu. Hashem is the name of mercy. Elokeinu is the Elokim. Elokeinu is the name of din and judgment. Hainu Shem Shel Din V'Rachamim. We're actually saying Hashem is both, meaning in this world. Sheyisrael Lovad Miyachasim Osam Lekel Echad. That it's Israel alone that relates to both of these aspects of God as one God. They're just attributes, but it's one God. And in the future period, Hashem Echad. Then His name will be one. God will be one. Ki lo yishtamshu kulam ki im b'shem shel rachamim. The only name that everyone will be using is the name of Rachamim, because that's the receiver. We're the receivers, and we will perceive everything as good, and therefore the only name that we will use for Hashem in the future is the Yud-Kei, Vav-Kei name of Rachamim. Hashem Echad. So this new paragraph begins to explain why is there a large ayin at the end of the word Shema. There's a large ayin. And then you have on the word Dalet a large Dalet. Now it's not just that it appears that way in my book, but we're talking about in the Sefer Torah. And the Torah scrolls have been written from time immemorial. So you have Shema, you have an ayin gedolah, and in the word, in the milat echad, you have a large dalet, a dalet gedolah. Remez, what does this hint to? What is this trying to teach us? It hints, Lamasha Amru b'Medrash. It hints to what they teach us in the Medrash. Shekadosh Baruch Hu v'Yisrael mi'idim ze al ze v'chulei. I don't have the whole Medrash in front of me here, but we're speaking about the word ayin daled, right? The two letters, ayin and daled, spell out aid. Aid is a witness, one who gives testimony. So the Kli Yakar is saying that the Medrash explains that God and Israel testify on each other. Kamosh Ne'emar, it says in Isaiah 43:10, Atem Edai Nu'um Hashem. You are my witnesses, says Hashem, and my servants whom I have chosen. So you are my witnesses. Chazal say on that in Gemara Brachos, Sheher Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Moshe Kesher Shel Tefillin. Okay, we know that God is not physical. We know that God doesn't wear tefillin in the real sense that we wear tefillin. But if Hashem had tefillin, there would be something written in them, just like ours has parchment written in it. And we're talking on a metaphysical level. Of course Hashem wears tefillin on a metaphysical level. And we're going to examine what's written in there. So God showed Moses the knot in the back of his tefillin. There's a knot that has the shape of a dalet. Protruding out of the head tefillin, you have a shin. Actually, you have a shin on each side. One is a 3-pronged shin. The other one is a 4-pronged shin. And then, of course, you have the letter Yud on the knot that is by the hand tefillin. So God showed him his knot in the back. The Inyan Kesher Zehu. What's the whole idea of the knot, or even God showing Moses the knot on the back of his tefillin? So it's brought down in Gemara Brachos, same page, which is 6. Page 7, Amud Aleph. Tefillin shel Marialma Maksi Behu. The Gemara asks, the tefillin of the Master of the Universe, what is written in it? Well, Masik Sham, and the Gemara over there quotes and brings down. Shekata Behem, tell you what's written in it. Es Hashem ha'amarta hayom, and another verse, but it's the next verse, V'Hashem amircha hayom. So it's in Deuteronomy 26, 17 and 18. And I'll translate. You have distinguished, separated Hashem today to be a God, for you, and to walk in His ways, and to observe His statutes, His commandments and His laws, and to listen to His voice. And Hashem has distinguished you today. So I should have mentioned earlier, when it says you have distinguished Hashem, and then the next verse says, and Hashem has distinguished you to be for Him a treasured people, as He spoke to you and to observe all of His commandments. So this Amer, Aleph Mem Resh, is a language of Havdalah, of separating, or even making holy, distinguishing. So that's what's written in God's tefillin. Basically, what is Hashem saying? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem is saying through these verses being written on his tefillin, Atem asituni chativa achas ba'olam. You made me into one unit in this world. We're talking about the Jewish people recognizing, perceiving, serving, praising one God. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. By proclaiming, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. You did that. That's what God is saying. Gamani, so too, me, God. It says, Chem chativ achas ba'olam. I'm going to make you into one unit in this world. This is the ultimate in Jewish unity. By us coming together, Hashem forcing us to come together. Either way, it's going to happen. Zehu inyan kesher shel tefillin. This is the idea of the word kesher is just not just a knot, but it's a connecting point. It mamish brings things together. Ki kashem sha'anu kshoirim kechotam alev ezroa yichud Hashem yisbarach. Just like we tie or connect as if we're making a signature and a sign on our hearts. When it goes on the arm, it's opposite the heart and the arm itself. We're unifying, we're creating this unity of Hashem. Kach HaKadosh Baruch Hu mesim otanu kachotam al libo v'kachotam al zroa. So too Hashem is doing the same thing. Hashem is creating us, He's lifting us, He's making us, He's raising us to be as a signature on His heart and a signature, a sign on His arm. La'asot otanu goy echad ba'aretz. And He's actually making us one nation in the land or even on the earth. Zeh hakesher shebeinenu im boreinu yizborach. This is that connection. This is the kesher, right? This is the knotting that we have between us and God, our Creator. Blessed be He. Shneinu mi'idim zeh al zeh inyan hachdut. This is what we spoke about originally, where each one is testifying on each other on the unity. Kederek shaba liros, kachva leiraos. Just like you come to see, so too you come to be seen. It's a two-way relationship. Everything we said up until now is correct in its most simplest understanding. I think it's very deep, but he claims this is the simple understanding. And now we're going to go deeper. Amnam, however, kfir remez. Now, if we want to go a step deeper in the hint, Amar basod and ayin dalit gedola, regarding, right, when we say these words, he's going to tell us a secret about the ayin and the dalit that are large, inyan kesher shel tefillin, and how we're going to connect the ayin dalit, which is large in the Shema, to connect them with the knot of the tefillin. Now remember, in Shema, in the tefillin itself, the Shema is written as well as several other chapters, parshiot, and this is how the first one begins with Shema Yisrael. So he says, Ki Moshe bikesh v'amar. What did Moses want? Moses wanted to understand why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people. He wanted to know the judgments, the reasons behind the judgments of God. And he asked in this way, Reini no et kvodecha. He said, show me your glory. I want to know you. And it says in the Medrash, Bikesh laros kol hamatan schar shel tzadikim be'olam hazeh u'be'olam haba. He requested to see, he wanted to understand all of the rewards that are given to the righteous in this world and in the next world. How do we know that? Kisham kavod chachamim yinchalu. It says in Mishlei, in Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 35, the wise inherit honor, and fools generate disgrace. So wise people receive honor. Veheshiv lo, and Hashem responded to him when he asked, I want to see your glory. V're'ita es acharai upanai lo yira'u. God responds by saying, right, I'm going to remove my hand, and you will see my back, but you shall not see my face. My face shall not be seen. Well, that's interesting. Says Chazal in the same Gemara and Brachas, Acharai, what does it mean, my back? My back, I'll show you, but my front you will not see. I'm not going to show you my front. The Kesher Shel Tefillin, the Gemara tells us that God showed Moses the Kesher, the knot on the Tefillin. Ki b'Tefillin yesh shem shel Shaddai, Shakai shin daled yud. See, in the Tefillin, you have basically engraved, to a certain extent, the name of God, shin daled yud. You have the shin, as I mentioned, is protruding out of both sides of the top head Tefillin. The dal is the way the knot is made in the back, and the yud is the knot on the arm Tefillin. I'm a lefty, so that's why I'm pointing to my right arm. That means that the dalit of the kesher, that means the dalit that's in the knot of the Tefillin is in the back. He showed him the back. He showed him the dalit. And what's in the front? Yud and shin are the osios that make up the word yesh. And that is protruding out of the front, meaning you have in the front of the person that's wearing tefillin, imagine God having the same thing, although he has no body, that you're talking about the front, you're talking about the shin, and the yud is visible from the front, and that spells the word yesh. The hainu shin shorosh, the yud shoyad, as I mentioned, and then you have yesh, that's the schar in Olam Haba. Yesh, today when people in Israel say yes, in Hebrew say yesh, they're so excited, yesh, it means that's something. Yesh means there's something. And in the Gematria, it actually equals 310, and the promise is there are 310 worlds waiting for the tzaddikim. Now it says in Mishlei that, that's Proverbs 8:21, I have what to bequeath to those who love me. The word what is yesh. Lahanchil ohavai yesh. Right? To bequeath to those who love me, blank. What's blank? Yesh. God is going to give this great reward of yesh to those who love him. Ki nimsa bo yeshus mamashos, because that's where there's actually yeshus and mamashos, actuality and substance. And in value, right, there's no way to even compare what the reward will be for us in the world to come compared to what we get in this world, which is absolutely nothing. And that is hinted in the word, in the letter of Dalet, as we said. Ki yitrono bo mikol abaruchos olam. The qualities or the advantages of number 4, that's what Dalet is the letter 4, number 4, it represents all 4 corners of the world, meaning of this world. Commotion and Mar, it says in Genesis 28:14. Ufaratzta yama v'kedma v'chule, the rest of the verse. God was saying to Yaakov, he was promising, your offspring shall be as the dust of the earth, you shall spread out powerfully, westward, eastward, north and south. So what was the Amar Lo, Kadosh Baruch Hu, God was saying, remember God said, V're'ita acharai, I'll show you my back. So that was the dalit of the Kesher Tefillin, that was the dalit on the knot of the Tefillin, which hints l'schar l'mazeh. That would hint to what he was trying to show Moses. That's what you're going to get in the world, in this world, meaning the 4 corners of the earth. Anything dalit 4 represents the Olam Hazeh, this world, and the 4 corners of this earth. So also levato cheleros, that's the only thing that you're going to be able to see. I know you want to see my glory, but I'm only going to show you my back and not my front. My back, where the kesher, the filling, you're only going to see this world. You can't see the world to come. L'hu davar tafel mechuna ba'achor. So this idea of this world representing the number 4, that you're able to see the 4 corners in all directions, this is something that is we call secondary and would be labeled or called the back. So too says God to Moses. If you look in Deuteronomy Chapter 3 verse 27, God commands Moses to go up to the mountain, to the cliff. Ale rosh pisga v'sa necha yoma v'tzafona v'teimana v'chulei. He says, ascend to the cliff, the top of the cliff, and raise your eyes westward, northward, southward, and eastward, and you shall see with your own eyes, for you shall not cross the Jordan. But we're talking about all four directions that you will see. Laharos lo kol achorav. You will be able to see everything that is behind you, not the future. Kemoshe Perish Rashi, Parashat Zos HaBracha, as Rashi says over there, and Hashem showed him the entire land. V'yareyu et kol haaretz. Hashem showed him the entire land. And what else did Rashi say? Ad hayam ha'acharon. Until, even though it sounds like we're talking about the westernly sea, but the westernly sea represents as far as the sea goes, the last sea. It's the last body of water. So it's the end. Velo ad bikla, but not beyond that. Just until that point. Ki min hayom acharon va'ala uzman hakala schar mabah. But west, from that point that you could see, as far as you can see west, the horizon with the great sea, and onward, from that point onward, that's already begins the time of receiving reward in the world to come. I think in English people say, he went west, or he went south. They usually say they went west, meaning they died, they passed on. Va'alav ne'amar, and regarding this it says in Isaiah 64 verse 3, Ayin lo ra'ot Elokim zulatcha. Right? Basically the part is, no eye has ever seen God except for you. So the whole verse says, people had never heard nor observed, no eye had ever seen a God except for you. That's why it says P'nai lo yera'u, but it does say your face, my front, you will not see. That people will not see. So ki apanim shel tefillin chakuk behem tevat yesh. We say face, we don't mean literally the face, we mean the front. What's written engraved in the front, you basically have those two letters, the yud and the shin. The yud on the arm, the shin up here, which represents the reward in the world to come. Hamaramez l'schar mabah, that hints to the reward that one would get in the world to come. Asher ayin lo ra'asa, which an eye has not seen. This is the secret of the ayin and the dalid gedolah, of that large letter ayin and the large letter dalid, saying, this is what it's saying to you. The ayin of adam lo yochol liros ki im hadelet. That the eye of a man in this world is not able to see or perceive except for the door. Delit is the letter ayin is also the same word for the eye. So the eye of a man is not able to see except for the delit. The word dalit is the same word used for a door, a delit. Kamor, as we've already stressed over again. Aval yesh, but when it comes to the front, which is the yud and the shin, that's removes barosh tevos Shema Yisrael. That actually is hinted already in the acronym in the Kol Reshi Tevos. The first letter of Shema Shin, the first letter of Yisrael's yud, and that spells the word yesh, because ki hayesh, because there actually is mamashos, there's actually substance. Hamaremez lahanchalas la veyesh. As we said before, that God will bequeath, cause to inherit those who love Him with something. With what? And with yesh. V'lo yochol ayin liros, but the eye is not able to see it or perceive it. Ki im lishmo oizin shemanu yaud zeh mipi soifrim musafrim. This is like one of those proof texts that we have as an oral Torah, because he's saying that there's no way to know these things except through tradition that we've heard from our rabbis and our parents who were witnesses at the revelation themselves. It's only the ear that can hear. Listen to Israel. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And it's all through tradition that we know everything that we know about the metaphysical world, the invisible world, about God and how He behaves, and all that was passed down by Moses, but the eye does not perceive. Ze remez Yakar. That's a very deep hint. Then he goes on and explains that there is a alternative explanation. It's a little bit different than everything we've been saying. L'chak bu ayin delet gedola. This is why there's a large ayin and a large dalit in the Shema. L'fi shneimar b'iyuv, like it says in Job. If you look in Job 23, verse 8 and 9, it says, perhaps I go to the east, He is not there. To the west, I cannot discern Him. Though He created the north, I cannot see Him there. I cloak to the south, so I cannot see Him. No matter where we look, all four directions, which is represented by, as we said, four by the Dalit. So the pasuk said, Hein kedem halok v'einenu v'achor lo avin lo small ba'asotov lo achaz yatov yamin v'lo yareh. No matter where I look, I cannot see Him. Kol zem moifet al achduto yizbrach. Actually, this comes to prove the unity, the solidity of oneness of God. She'eno niro b'shum makom v'zot makom. That He's not to be perceived. You cannot see Him in any one place. Ki im eno geshem. You know why? Because He's not physical. U'mi'achar shayin haroeh. After the eye could see b'kol arba deruchos, right? The eye can perceive all four directions in this world, and He lo yochol lirot misham, and you're not able to perceive Him within the four within this world. Because God is not a physical body or a physical entity that could be broken down into smaller pieces. It's not divisible. It's undivisible. You cannot divide, and therefore He's not physical. And if therefore He's not physical, then it shows you that He's all-encompassing of just oneness throughout the entire vast universe that we live in. Now, if we can think about this, we say Shema twice a day, and if we can really think about this on a deep level, I think that we'll have much more fulfillment when we say the Shema, and I beg you to examine the rest of the Shema further on. Shabbat Shalom.